is live. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. If you're watching this after the fact, put your questions in there, and Dan and I will answer them. I would like to thank Clifford Wessel, the founder of cttcoach.com, for his sponsorship. They offer full service career coaching services, including professional transitions, transformation, leadership development. It's a holistic, high regarded coaching system. It's awesome. CTT Coach will be in the comment section shortly. Click on that and we will be able to send you directly to them. I am excited about my conversation today with Dan. Dan, how are you today?
Jade, I am so excited. Dude, I haven't slept in 2 days because I've been thinking about you and being on your show here today. So I'm stoked.
Well, I am glad you are stoked because, I mean, I always love talking about how we met. And, obviously we met online and then, the good old Canadian way, two rednecks met at a Tim Hortons. And I think the only thing that you took away from that conversation is I just randomly talk to strangers in shirts that we wear that are similar.
Jade, before we get started into why I'm here, meeting you has been one of the best parts of my 2021. And I know your followers are here today. I'm hoping my followers are here today and they get to meet this or get to learn a little bit more or get to explore a little bit more about Jade Alberts. Because you have been just a phenomenal, kind, compassionate, and very forward-thinking guy. And it's been giving me a lot of fuel to do the work that I've been doing. So thank you again for being awesome.
Wow, man. I mean, thank you for the kind words. I don't think I've ever blushed on my own show before. So that's a good start, right? But then, no, I mean, honestly, like since you've been come, to reciprocate this, I think just from Founders Coffee, you've probably helped 5 or 6, even more. I mean, we'll talk about it in a little bit, companies on what careers does. So again, it's something that you and I are both passionate about, making sure that we're helping people, we're giving back, we're, giving them better opportunities to succeed. So let's talk a little bit about, let's dive into that right now. I mean, the role that you play guiding teens' future, helping them choose a career, tell us a little bit about careers and how your program works. Okay.
Well, first of all, let me start off. I'm a very small part in the bigger picture. On one hand, we have a team from careers that is going into the schools and inspiring students to explore career opportunities in areas of skill shortages. We're talking about the skilled trades. We're talking about career opportunities in information and communication technology, agriculture, and even health, right? And so they're getting these students going, hey, look at the world that's in front of you. And then there's another part of us that's going out to employers. And we're inspiring them to inject youth into their business, into their industry. And then there's the third part. And this is probably the coolest part. We get to work with some of the bravest professionals working in Alberta today to help these students connect to employers as part of off-campus education. And I'm talking about the dedicated and committed teachers that are working from high level to Lethbridge. And so ultimately, we're just smashing these two parties, the students and the schools, with industry to grow a local and better talent pool right here in Alberta with the talent that's growing in our own backyard. That's what we're doing.
And I think that's cool. And you're hitting it at such a young level, right? I mean, I think back to when, I'm dating myself 30 plus years ago, going to high school. I mean, I'm 50 and I don't even really know what I want to do. How the heck am I supposed to make a decision about my future when I'm 14, 15? I mean, the world has changed so much. So how do you inspire these kids? How do you reach the kids? How do the kids react when you start talking to them about placing them into different careers?
You know what? A lot of the time, we just really talk about that uncertainty. We talk about that confusion. We talk about that anxiety, and then we say, "Okay, right? Let's make an action step." And so they're so scared, what happens if this happens? Or what happens if that happens? What happens if I choose something over here and I miss something over here? Right? And by working in this higher level of collaboration with industry, government, education, and the students and the parents themselves, we're just getting students to test the waters, right? And they're committing to these action steps. And what's happening is that they're going out into the workplace, and then they're able to link the classroom to the workplace and vice versa. And so here's what really this is another byproduct of this whole program, is that now the students are choosing schooling and education and even post-secondary education with a fit for purpose for the opportunities that they've experienced, and less on hope, right? I'm not saying hope is a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it might be not a very good business strategy in terms of your career education development.
Yeah, I probably relied on hope. But I wouldn't recommend it for anybody else. I think hope, mine was more maybe lucky than anything. But I mean, when you come to this,
I think when you went to school, and when do you know students today are expected to change their careers 5 to 15 times now before they retire?
Oh yeah,
right. So if
that's
you think
an amazing
about that,
stat. Yeah,
right?
You think of our parents, right? My mom worked for the Royal Bank for 38 years, and my dad was with CN and drove trains for the same amount of time, right? That was it, from there to retirement. So I you see people jumping all the time, which I think is a really good thing not a good thing, but it's good for the individual if they have an opportunity to better themselves, better their career, make a step up, whether if that company's not giving them an opportunity to shine, and someone else definitely will. They'll see the benefits of bringing them on. So I think that could be a very positive thing.
Yeah, absolutely it could. What's more important is that by starting early, we're teaching these students a lot of the employability skills for sure. We're working in tandem or in collaboration with our education partners. And what's happening is these students are being able to self-identify their competencies, and they're being able to self-identify their skills. And that increases the innovation and the creativity that they want to add to companies as they grow into their career. And that, oh man, you get me started, Jade. I can't sit still. That's why I had to set up the tripod. I couldn't sit at my desk when you get me talking about this stuff.
If my tripod was higher, I could be standing with you at my sit-stand desk, but it's not. You'd be looking at my belly. That's no good.
Right. I got to remember to suck in my gut here.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly. So I know Careers does a lot of traditional industry. So let's talk about that and how Careers itself is transitioning within Alberta about how we're going into such a strong tech industry, and how are you going about helping place and introduce students to that industry?
Oh man, it sends like tingles down my spine when you ask me this question. So Eric Newell was the CEO of Syncrude at the time, back in the early 90s, and that's when Careers, first started to come to be. And we wanted to go forth into the community, almost as a voice of industry into the education community, and talk about the honor and the privilege of what it means to be a skilled tradesperson in Alberta. And so our roots are in the skilled trades: carpenter, electrician, automotive service technician, hairstylist, cook, baker. And there's a part of apprenticeship that just makes sense. You go to work, you get to experience, explore, and learn about this opportunity. And then you go to school for a little while, you learn about the theory, and then you come back and you work a little bit more, and you repeat that process for 1 to 4 years, depending on the program. And this is experiential learning. This is work integrated learning. And if you talk to the leaders of industry and government, and definitely Careers partners, they're going to say the exact same thing. A career in the skilled trades has the same merit, value, and worth as any other professional career.
Yeah.
Now we take that idea and we start looking at what's happening in Alberta, right? We have an emerging tech ecosystem that is just coming up to the surface, right? It's strong and it's getting stronger. So what if we could take the best parts of apprenticeship, the best parts, and apply it to other career sectors, like information communication technology, like agriculture, and like health, right? And so since we've been doing this for more than 25 years in the skilled trades, inspiring this higher level of collaboration, we're trying to take everything that we know, everything that we've done, and unpack it into these new career opportunities or these new career fronts. So information and communication technology, right? What happens if we could help students explore careers in software development, business and marketing, data and security, infrastructure, digital design, where they could go to work, explore that career, experience that career, go to high school or post-secondary with courses that they can really sink into as it pertains to industry, and industry just dials back the work a little bit for that individual or that group of individuals. And then when that student comes out of schooling with all these skills, they dial up the work again. And now this learning is up to date and it's meaningful. And these students are expediting their productivity to the business and their own fulfillment to that industry. And they're growing with Alberta at the same time. I'm sorry, I think I went off on a tangent.
No, tangents are good. This is where tangents come.
Right. And so I started, for the first 9-10 years of my career with careers, I'm a skilled tradesperson, right? I wish somebody said, Dan, be a plumber. You want to be a plumber, you should be a plumber, right? And that's why I came to work for careers. But now I get to take all this great knowledge from industry leaders that I've met over the last 10 years. And I get to share all of that with all these new people in the tech sector.
Yeah.
And vice versa. Right? I get to share all this infinite wisdom. Like you, Jade, connected me to some amazing startups right here in Alberta. And these people are passionate, they're incredibly intelligent, and they're so driven. And it's like, it gets me excited just seeing them Tuesday mornings at Founders Coffee, Thursday nights at Startup TNT. And I may have to actually take nuggets of their creativity and their genius, and I can share it with some of my longtime friends in other industry and vice versa. And some way I feel like I'm taking the brilliance of, legacy fire protection, my good buddy Carl Pollard, and I'm actually to take some of his, business genius and share it with this group. Now, again, I'm not talking about students here, but as part of this communication that's happening, I'm also able to share, Terry's success working with 15-year-old high school students as electricians with Mike's software company, and how he can engage students to be a quality assurance tester in his firm. And what are the best practices that are transferable? Now, I'm going to go off on a big tangent here, Jade. You might have to interrupt me, okay, bud? Okay,
I got my tea. I'm ready. I'm ready to listen, baby.
Okay. So I've been thinking about this. I met some friends of mine over the Christmas break. And he says, Dan, I love it when people come to do their pitch to me, right? And it's like a bad episode of South Park. So I'm going to try and, I'm making this up as I go. I don't have this rehearsed. It's like, hey, look, we're going to get all these students excited about career opportunities. That's step one. Step two, And step 3, we are going to crush a student debt crisis, and we're going to have a more fulfilled workforce and higher profits. Okay, what about step 2? Step 2 is the how. And that's the magic of what it is that we're doing, right? And every student and every position and every opportunity is going to be slightly little different, right? We have some emerging software careers that is going to help us place 6, 10, 15,000 students in the coming years, okay? Our goal is about 6,000 students by 2023, 2024. But one of my good friends, Serene Yu, she says, Dan, you got to remember, and I paraphrase a little bit, right? We don't install wires for electricity. We don't install pipes for water. We don't code for computers. We're doing this for people. And so when I think about the how part of it, a lot of companies come back to me and say, well, when if this happens, when if this happens, and they give us some reason. These are the companies that aren't participating. But the hardest part about step 2 is courage. The willingness to take an action step. And then when you commit, or you have that confidence of employer participation, you're not just getting some student off the street. You're getting a student with resources and collaboration from an entire community. So if we're talking about a student in 8 weeks during the summer, we got the employer, mentors, yep. We got careers. We're going to be there to support the employers and the students in any way we can. We got teachers. Man, if you want to know somebody who knows how to work with a 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old, we got teachers all across Alberta that want to talk to industry. Okay, then we got parents. And then we got peer-to-peer. Imagine a student who is working as a content editor at Renaissance Landscaping and another student who's working as a social media coordinator at Fifth Avenue Physio, and they're actually able to work together to share ideas to grow both companies.
Yep.
So now we got 5 support structures that are all working together to expedite that level of success. So it's not just on the employer. Right? They have a community and they got support of the government. Oh, let me kick this up one more notch for you. The government right now believes so much in experiential learning and work integrated learning that they've given us the resources to offer employers the Youth Internship Incentive Program. That's funding, up to $10,800 per employer to start this process. Now, this isn't, I got to stop you. I got to stop myself. I got to remind people sometimes that this isn't just about being able to capture cheap talent. This is about taking these resources and building the standards to inject students this year, next year, 5 years from now. Right now is the time to work with all these resources to build the standards of your company. And here's what's going to happen at the end of the day. Yeah, I know it sounds a little bit magical. I know it sounds a little crazy. But at the end of the day, you're going to have students that are choosing companies for the vision and mission of the company, not for the position. And ultimately, we're going to have companies with better cultures and more innovation. Oh man, I can see it. I just hope that I was able to explain it well enough in the time that you've given me here. I better let you go on to your next question.
Oh no, it's a live show and we just go down any rabbit hole we want, so it doesn't really matter what we talk about. But let's talk about the companies and the students. So how does a company go to qualify for careers, and how do you know, how does a student reach out to you and apply?
You know, our website, like, that's the simplest way. Just go to our website. If you're an employer, click the employer tab. If you're a student, click the student tab. And then wherever you are in Alberta, we'll connect you to the right person and we'll start that conversation.
Perfect. And anybody wants to click on their website, it's scrolling. It's here, careersnextgen.ca. It's in the comment section. Just click on the link in the comment section, and it'll take you directly there. So in these, are there any companies that don't fit your criteria? Or, I mean, especially when it's coming to tech. I mean, yes, I know you've been lucky enough to kind of meet a lot of startups through Founders Coffee, and obviously networking is an extremely important part of growing, and sometimes students don't realize that. So I know that you've taught them that and the importance of networking. But are there, how small of a company can you work with, or what type of criteria do you have?
I think that the answer to that question just comes down to basic principles. And here's how I would evaluate a company. Would I want to place my son or daughter with you? Mm-hmm. And that's, I've had students work for companies where there was one person. He was the owner of the company and he wanted some help, right? I've had students work, obviously we have great supporters like Syncrude and Suncor, and we have students working on their sites up in Fort McMurray. So we got the biggest of the big companies working with careers, and everything in between. Right now in the ICT world, the small medium enterprises are coming forward, right? They have a vision, they have a plan. So what their big plan is that they're going to build the standards. They're capturing our emerging best before anybody else. And they're not only teaching them the technical skills, they're teaching them so much more. They're instilling their culture. They're instilling their principles. They're instilling their vision into these companies or into the students. And by that, they're building this loyalty, if you will. And I think it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant to make sure that because in all of this and all the good work that they're doing to partner with teachers and schools, right? They're also promoting their company first and foremost as supporters of education, supporters of youth, and supporters of the economic stability, sustainability of the communities that they operate in. That's what these small companies are doing right now in the tech sector. There's some big companies too, but by and large, I would say about, in the trade side of the world, don't quote me on the statistic, but I think about 39% work in shops with 10 or fewer employees.
Okay. Yeah, well, I mean, that's the heartbeat of Canada, right? Small businesses, right? It's who employs the most people. It's if you add them all together, right? It's a very important sector for our economy, and it's only gonna get more important. And there's only more and more entrepreneurs starting and new businesses popping up because of some of the recent what's happening and downsizing and collaborations and so forth. So, you talked a little bit about, you want to place 6,000 students by 2023. I think that was the number, if I recall correctly. So what is next for you guys? What is next for careers? Where do you want to be other than that number? Let's pick. Do you want the tech sector to outdo the traditional sector? Is that a goal? What's next?
You know what? It's funny that you say that. I guess I want to inspire anywhere that I can that higher level of collaboration. I had the opportunity of meeting great people like Pacific Western Transportation, a good supporter of careers. We're placing heavy equipment technicians with this company, but we're also placing students that are interested in infrastructure with a person I look up to by the name of Scott Rivers, right? And so these companies are really just trying to carve out a scope of tasks and responsibilities. And they're trying to say, okay, Dan, I don't want to just hire one student. I want to hire 4. I want to hire 5. I want to hire 10. Yeah. And, on that, I got to tell you, every single student that I helped place last summer, you know, in the tech world, all those companies are coming back and they want more. So they took 2 students last year, now they want 5 this year. Right?
Nice.
And it makes sense, right? Because if I'm placing a lot of these students with these SMEs, these entrepreneurs, right? Well, if you think about the type of students that we have, think about it this way. If you had the choice of hiring 2 students of equal intelligence and equal potential, and one was doing this because they had to as part of their post-secondary program and expectations, not a bad thing.
Yep.
Or you could choose a high school student or a student that was doing this because they wanted to, because there was an intrinsic drive in them to do this. They don't need it to graduate. They just want to. And that intrinsic motivation, which a lot of companies say doesn't exist anymore, I got to tell you, I talked to a few hundred, if not a few thousand students who demonstrate that every day. They just need that coach to know how to channel, right? And that just gets, like, maybe it's a biological thing, I don't know, but it just gets me excited to see, hey, all I got to do is put this little step in front of this student, and she is gonna be awesome. I got this grade 10 student, smart as a whip, funny, can't wait to start working with her. And she's grade 10, she's 15 years old. And when I talk to her, sometimes I forget, you know, she's only in grade 10 and she's gonna be ruling the world here. Anyways, see, this heart thing kind of gets me rambling.
Well, no, I mean, and that's the right. It's good to, and I love the fact that you're connecting, you know, people that, you know, not only want to help students, but especially when I believe that, you know, entrepreneurship kind of gets glamified out there, right? Oh, you hear about all these great exits and, oh, I'm going to have $1 billion company. Oh, I'm going to do this and this and this. And it's hard, right? I mean, you and I both know that it's extremely hard. I have to sit there. I've been across people crying, you know, and crying with them about, you know, they might lose their business or they have to fire people or how they're going to pay their bills or how they're going to pay their staff. And I think it's really important for some of these students to really be put into these situations to understand, you know, yes, it's good. We need the help. This is supportive, but I'm getting firsthand knowledge of how hard it is and what I need to do and how hard I actually have to work to become and to make a business, you know, thrive and grow. And whether you have an exit or not, or you make it a lifestyle business that, you know, hires 5 to 10 more people type thing. So I think it's so important for students to understand this. And we have this conversation within the CIC here in Calgary, with a lot of the industry leaders about how are we going to get entrepreneurship out there and starting at a younger level. And I think this is one step in that process.
Model and mimicry, right?
Yeah.
If you want more entrepreneurs, you connect these students with the entrepreneurs, and they're gonna pick up. And what's so neat about this, and you know, maybe doctors of education could argue with me on this, but a lot of people say, you know, you can't hire. You can teach technical skills, but you can't teach attitude. Yep. A lot of people said that in the past.
Yep.
And I firmly believe that by working with, you know, students as young as 15, we can teach attitude. We can teach the principles and the moralities of the business, and the students are going to put that into their who they are, where they're going, and who they think they should be.
Yeah, I agree. No.
Right. And so, yeah, connecting, you know, budding entrepreneurs with principled, focused, successful entrepreneurs, that's a match made in heaven every time.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. No, I've you know, this is such a enjoyable conversation, Dan. I've been excited about having you on for a while now, and especially kicking off this season, having the panel discussion, and then yourself, and we're getting into a lot of people out there that are really helping, you know, and even networking, like you know, Bridget's coming on with the rainforest. You know, to talk about that, and you know, any places, whether you're a programmer, a coder, or someone looking to want to work with a small business, where should you go? Where should you be? And that kind of leads into my last question for you. So, and then usually it's kind of the same, but I'm putting a Dan spin on it. So if you had one piece of advice for a student that wants to join your program or start their career, what would that be?
I'm going to tell you, never work for an employer that wants you to start at the bottom. And a lot of people kind of look at me and go, wait, what did he say? Where do you expect these students to start? Imagine we could change the conversation. And instead of implying that the students have to start at the bottom, which is some sort of derogatory hole that they have to climb out of, let's just tell it like it is. And let's remind that we're just starting people from the beginning.
I like that, right? And it's the same analogy I use when it comes to, sometimes you have to slow to grow, right? It's like, well, you don't have to slow. Let's just smoothly grow, right? And it's just making sure you make the right proper steps. And I like that analogy. And I think that's really good because in a world of, everybody that thinks they should start at the top or, they want everything they wanted, they should have had it yesterday. I think that's a very, very good advice for people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Dan, thank you so much for coming on, sharing your knowledge. I love what Careers is doing. Again, anybody wants more information, they can reach out to Dan. Thank you, Kylie, for the kind words in the comment section there on LinkedIn. Thank you to Cliff for careers for cttcoach.com. Please check them out. Again, it's a transition. If you're looking for something, he can help you with everything from resumes to where you want to do. I also want to give a shout out to the girls from joy2job.com, which I put their stuff in there, and they host monthly webinars and bring in entrepreneurs and bring in scientists and bring in doctors that you can drill them with questions to find out if you want to be a doctor or an entrepreneur or a plumber, whatever it is. They bring people in for you to ask, and their next webinar is on Tuesday. So you can just their link is in the chat as well. Click on that, and you can go from there. So Dan, I really appreciate everything, sir, and I look forward to seeing you probably tomorrow night.
You betcha. I'm going to be there.
And you won't be able to ride your new bike because it's broken.
Oh, it's a story for another time.
I'd throw that in there just to twist it.
Yeah. No.
All right. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed the conversation today, and